I need a vice stand, so I'm gonna make one. Let's start by cleaning this guy up. First of all, let's get these nuts busted. And here you can see me gracefully loosening the U-bolt. Nothing to it. Alright, now time to take out the spring, which maybe I'll just lay it down. Alright, this should be pretty easy. Maybe, there we go. Alright, now for the screw box. Time to loosen this nut. And here I'm putting the nut back on to tap out the bolt. Just give it a nice good while. Oh god! And here you can just about see there's still bare metal on the bolt, which is pretty neat. Alright, let's take the moving jaw out. And here you can see what seems to be a cold shell, which makes me think this was forged. Anyway, here are all the parts. So, that is the moving jaw, that is the fixed jaw, and that's the bolt that they both pivot on. That's the spring that holds them apart, and that's the screw and nut that actually allows you to clamp. And of course the bracket. But let's get that all brushed. If you're wondering if wiring wheeling this on the ground is comfortable, it's not. Alright, time to reassemble the pieces. So, putting the bolt back in. It's binding up there a little bit. There we go. And I don't have any grease, so I'm just putting WD-40 in there. Good enough. Now for the screw box. Here you can see this flange. This helps the screw box brace up against the fixed jaw so you can get that nice clamping force. And of course, the screw handle. And if you look closely, the screw has a washer on it, which does the same thing as the flange on the screw box. Now they put the spring back in. And we just gotta put it in the bracket here. And of course the U and the then put the U bolt in. Alright, it's all cleaned up. Now, I am going to oil it, but we're not to that part of the video yet. And plus, I do need to clean these pieces up here, but let's make the stand. Now we're going to need a quick measure of how tall to make the stand, which may or may not have happened before the cleaning. And we're just going to mark it with the angle grinder here real quick. And that's the piece cut. Now I don't realize it yet, but I just cut that a little short. You'll see. Wait, that's the wrong piece. There we go. And here I'm just eyeballing from the top to even it out. There we go. And I'm marking out where I want to grind the base plate. See? And some more goblin grinding. Alright, let's get this piece in place. And now we're ready to weld. And here I leveled out the base so then I could check the actual level of the I-beam. Pretty good, and good enough. Now I can go back and tack the rest of the I-beam. And after I got it tacked, I can lay down some more serious welds. And now let's start on the top. Gonna make a mark here. And another mark. And another mark. Now I have to mark out this plate, which to do that, I just lean up the vise so I can trace it out. Now you may be able to see there's a gap under there, and well, that's what I was talking about earlier. Cut the I-beam a little short. Alright, now for the tray itself. I didn't just want a flat tray, so what I'm doing right here is I'm marking where I'm going to score it with the angle grinder. So what I'm doing is cutting it, but not all the way through, so that later I can bend it and hopefully get some sides. So let's see how that works out. Now that I've scored it, I'm just going to cut out these corners so it can actually bend. Speaking of, this 3/16 was a little tricky to bend, but it worked. Now you can see on the bottom left there it cracked, but hey, I can fix that. The welds are a little bird poopy, but I think I went ahead and rounded over the edges just so, one less thing to cut myself on. Not too shabby. Now you may have noticed earlier there's some steel in the way of that back bolt, so we're just going to mark that out and drill it out, so all I have to do is make a couple cuts with the angle grinder. And here I'm just measuring to make sure the top tray is centered. Now here I'm just tacking in the tray just so it doesn't warp down the line. Since I have this spacer to make up for cutting the I-beam short, I'll just go ahead and use it as a template. Went ahead and put these bolts in just to make sure it's lined up, and now we'll tack it. And here I'm fitting out the nut so I can weld it in. Now, I probably don't need to weld this, but I wanted to fill it in. And now to weld in the spacer. Alright, now we just need something to hold in the post, so I'm going to take a quick measure. Alright. And we're going to use this right here. Alright, I think I'll put this piece right there. What? Maybe there. Perfect. Let's tack it in place. And here I put in the vise temporarily just to make sure it's all lined up. Now I can beef up those welds. Hey, watch the camera. Now here I'm just brushing what I couldn't comfortably reach on the ground, because you know, I didn't exactly want to wire brush my hand. Alright, now it's finally time for finish, and I went with Danish oil because, well, that's what the store had. Ooh, shiny. Alright, I should note that before I welded these nuts, I actually soaked these in vinegar so I wouldn't inhale zinc. And I went ahead and rounded over the heads because I didn't like how the store-bought heads look. See how they're round? They're round because of the way that they are round. Because they're round. Anyway, here's where they go. Also, I'm going to blacken these, but off camera because, well, I forgot to film it. Here I'm just cleaning up the base with mineral spirits. Got a little aggressive there. Now, in hindsight, I should have scuffed up the top because it didn't take paint very well. Speaking of paint, here's what I used. Just kind of had it around and, well, seemed appropriate. Now, I know the paint on the top will probably burn, but I'm going to paint it anyway. And here it is, all nice and painted. Well, now it's done. Let's go get that on. Just gotta make sure I line up the post here. And now I can lean this in. Now I'm putting the rounded bolts that are rounded on the head that are rounded, the rounded bolts that are rounded. And now I can tighten the rounded head bolts, the bolts that have rounded heads. And that's it. It's all put together. Here's the opening. It's a little squeaky. I should probably put grease in it someday, but not today. Now let's try it out. Oh, okay. Beauty shot first. And let's vise something. This is just some 3/8 by 3/4. And here I'm lifting the whole stand, which is probably 150 pounds. And there I'm putting my whole weight. Not bad. And now it's done. Well, thanks for watching all that, and go watch something else.